Hey, gang. So it's a cold, snowy morning out here in the Chicagoland area. And I just want to get into this lesson that I've been meaning to do for a long time, talking about triads. 3 triads, each with 3 different fingerings and 1 chord progression, all in one limited area of the neck. All of these restrictions combined should force us into some areas that maybe we're unfamiliar with. So let's build up our muscle memory. Let's build up our ear. Let's build up our knowledge of the note names on the first part of this neck, and let's talk about the exercise and what it's all about. What are triads to begin with? Triads are just 3-note chords, basically. The 3 notes are stacked in thirds, and there's different permutations of major and minor thirds that make up different types of triads. Triads are 3-note chords. Like I said, there's 4 types of 3-note chords: major, minor, diminished, and augmented. We're going to just look at major, minor, and diminished because these are what occur when you stack a major scale in thirds from each note of the scale. So if you build up using only the notes in the, say, major scale, if you build from each degree of that major scale, the 1 degree, the 2 degree, the 3 degree, the 4 degree, 5, 6, 7, and then back to 1, you'll have some different types of triads or chord qualities arise naturally, and that will be the major, minor, and diminished. So what we're going to do is look at those 3 triads and the fingerings now, and then we'll talk about the chord change that we're going to play all of these triads with, and then we're going to talk about the restriction of playing it within just the first 5 frets here. What is a major triad? Like we said, it's just 3 notes stacked in thirds. In this instance, it's a major third and a minor third. So if you look at the key of D, or if you just look at the note D in general, if we want to build major triads from D, you would have the notes D, F sharp, and A. And if you talk about your fingers being 1, 2, 3, and 4, you'd be playing like a 2, 1, 4 pattern, 2, 1, 4. And that's starting with your second finger. So let's talk about the other 2 fingerings. This might be the most common, but the other 2 fingerings you could do are 4, 3, 1, and that would be D, F sharp, A, playing on these adjacent strings, again within the span of 4 frets. And then you could play another version spanning 5 frets, which is D, F sharp, A, and you could play that with your first, fourth, second finger. That's a little more of a stretch. So there's your first triad. Those are the 3 shapes. Those 3 shapes are also very similar to what we're going to use for the minor and diminished. So let's talk about those. The minor triad starts with the minor third and then a major third on top. So a minor third to F and then F to A is a major third. It is a span of 5 frets, and you can play that with your second, first, and fifth fingers. If you don't want to stretch that far, you could also start with your pinky. The other fingering would be 4, 3, 1. And then lastly, lesser stretch in the span of 4 frets is 1, 4, 3, 4, 1, D, F, A. And that's your minor. So let's talk about diminished. Diminished is when you flat the 5th of the chord. So you're going to start with a minor third and also a minor third on away from that second note. So it's 2 minor thirds stacked on top of each other. In the case of D, again, you'll wind up with D, F, A flat. And I actually just played all of the fingerings there. So let's look at the fingering from the first finger. Span of 4 frets, 1, 4, 2, 4, 1. Starting with the third finger, 3, 1, 4, 1, 3. And starting with the pinky, 3, 2, 1. I always like to put the space in between these first 2 fingers, and that's over the space of 5 frets. So those are the 3 shapes we're going to use. So now let's talk about the chord progression, which if we're talking in scale degrees or in numerics, we're going to be playing a 2, 5, 1, 4, 7, 3, 6 progression. And again, these degrees are going to have qualities. So we're going to play a minor 2, a major 5, a major 1, a major 4, diminished 7, a major 3, which is different than the minor 3, which would occur diatonically if you stack these chords. But we're doing that because oftentimes in this progression, which you're going to hear is a basic jazz progression, they make the 3 major anyway. So we're just kind of going to stick with that sound, although that is a deviation from the diatonic chords. And then lastly, we're going to play the 6th chord as the minor that it is. So what does that chord progression sound like? Let's just play it in the key of C, and I'll play it up here as chords just so you can hear it. So I'm playing 7th chords there. Those are 4-note chords. We're only playing 3-note triads for this exercise. But that's the kind of sound that you're going to hear, you know, is a... Everyone has heard that kind of progression. And I like the idea of playing it in a progression like that, where you're going to hear it in a more musical way. It beats just playing through, I think, in a cycle of fifths or a cycle of fourths, and that just gets kind of boring. You know, you want it to be a little bit musical while you're charging through all 12 keys. So now let me just demo the first couple of keys, the key of C and the key of F for you, because we're going to go in fourths through all of these keys. Restrictions are 3-note chords, and we're going to stick to playing it in the first 5 frets. No open strings. That's the other restriction. So if we're in the key of C and we want to play this chord progression, it's going to be D minor as the first chord. The only place that you could play the D minor with these restrictions is the version starting with your pinky on D, and it'll be... You couldn't play this version because that puts you out to the 7th fret. And you couldn't play this version because it uses an open string. So you're going to play D there, G here, C, F, B diminished, E, A minor. And so you'll see that those are really, for the key of C, the only fingerings you could use playing that progression in triads and staying within these first 5 frets. Let's look at the key of F really quickly, just to give you one more example, and this will be the next key. G minor, again, you can't play the version with the open string, and you can't play this version, even though this might feel easier for you. Because you're stretching out past the 5th fret. So it's G minor with this wider position, C, F, B flat. Again, you have to play the version that spans the 5 frets, E diminished, A major. Again, the version that uses your pinky first, and then the D minor, also leading with the pinky, because you can't use the open string version. So that's it. That's the approach. That's the thought process that you're going to have to apply to all 12 keys. Now you can watch my playthrough if you need an answer sheet, or if it's confusing, or you just want to double check that you're doing the right thing with each one of these keys. So go ahead and watch the playthrough if you want. If you think you got this, you could jump right along to the play along section, which is just the chord change over and over without me playing bass. And that's going to be a fun thing for you to work out to. And happy practicing. So glad you're jumping into this with me. I think you're going to really benefit from it. All right, we're going to do the play along now. We're going to start in the key of C. the people's key. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. I almost missed the start. Key of F. Easy mode, key of B flat, getting a little harder. Don't be afraid of those flats. Stretch for that A diminished, yeah. You got it, E flat. Almost didn't know where I was for a second. Stretch for that D diminished, G, C minor, yeah. Key of A flat. Key of D flat, about halfway there. All right, G flat. You feeling the pressure yet? No pressure. Key of B. I'm scared of this one for some reason. My fears were unfounded. Here we go. Key of E, the people's key. I screwed myself up. I started thinking that key of C is the people's key. Key of D. Here we go, the last one. G. G, is this fun? Back to the original key, key of C, so we're wrapping around all the way. To the play along section. Okay, so you did it. Hopefully you found the benefits of this exercise obvious. You know, you're building that muscle memory, you're building your ear up, and you're getting really familiar with the note names in one section of the neck, which maybe you weren't as familiar as you should be. The benefits of doing this triad exercise in this restricted position, I even found it a little challenging when I put this exercise together. Hopefully you did as well. And if you like this kind of thing, let me know. And until then, keep up the good work, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks.